Good morning, children. Welcome to your English video lecture. I hope that all of you are fine and doing good at your home. So, students, as you all know, that we were doing English literature, and in English literature, we were doing the supplementary readers, chapter number 3rd, by the name The Shepherd's Treasure. Right, and in our previous video I have already explained the chapter and we have done the chapter reading also. So, in this chapter, we will discuss the summary of the chapter with the moral of the story and also some question answers. Okay, so let us start with the summary of the chapter. So, what is in the chapter? The chapter, I have already told you that the chapter is something which shows us that if you have honesty, if you have dignity in you, you can be a very good person. You can be recognized among all the other people, right? And how a shepherd from a very small town in Iran who was uneducated became the governor of the city, right? Let us see the summary of the chapter. Okay, so a shepherd lives in Iran, and even though he is not educated, he is quite wise. The shepherd's treasure tells us his story and how he turns rich when the kings identify his strength. It explores the theme of humanity and honesty. A shepherd is a poor man who lives in a small village. As there were no schools at those time, he has not received an education. That does not stop him from being a wise and friendly man. It is his common sense that helps other people out of their problem. As a result, many people visit him to get advice or gain and he gained popularity. The news soon reached the king and decided to meet him. Okay, so here you can see that a shepherd, there used to be a shepherd in a very small village in Iran, and he was an uneducated man, right? He was not a very well educated person. He has not received any education as there were no schools at that particular time, right? And he was, but even though he was not able to receive education, he was quite intelligent. He was quite, analytical person who used to help other people by analyzing their problem and telling them possible solution of their problems. He was very popular at that state where he used to live. Okay, and in this story, the story of the shepherd's treasure, it explores the theme means the basic idea of the story is about humanity and honesty, that how honest the shepherd was, and how humanity, he has such a humanity towards other people, that he always wanted to help other people. Okay, and due to this nature of his, what happened, all the people in his village used to come and seek advice from him. Whatever problem they used to have, they used to come to the shepherd and they used to tell the problem to him and ask for solutions. And the shepherd was quite intelligent, he was quite analytical person, so he was very much able to do the, to help the people. He does anything that he could in his power to help other people. So this nature of his, this humanitical nature of him, became very popular, and due to that popularity, soon the news of him being a very kind and very very intelligent, very wise man reaches to the ears of the king. Means the news of him, his popularity soon reaches to the king. Okay, so this is the first section where you can see that how a normal person, the shepherd, first of all, I hope that you this is clear to you that what is the meaning of shepherd. I have told you that shepherd is someone, in Hindi you can call it charvaha. Okay, so shepherd is someone jo sheep को चढ़ाता है. Okay, so the shepherd was very simple man. He didn't even has his own home. Okay, he used to live in a cave. He was not very well educated. He was not even educated. He didn't have any money, but still he was rich with his wisdom. Okay, and this thing of humanity, this nature of his made him very popular, and this news of him being very good and very kind and very wise reaches to the ear of the king. Okay, let's see then what happened. However, he distinguished himself as a shepherd and goes to meet him at his cave. On seeing him, the shepherd gives him water and shares his meal. As the king stays the night at his place, he became impressed. He becomes impressed though through his kindness and wise talks. So what happened, as the king knew about that there is a person, there is a shepherd in a village who is very popular for his wisdom, for his kindness. So the king decided that he wants to visit the shepherd, and he wants to know that what the shepherd is, how the shepherd is, how he is so popular, why he is so popular. So what happens, he disguised him. Who? The king disguised himself, means he changes his appearance. Okay, he changes his appearance from a king to another shepherd, and he went to the village. And when the shepherd, the actual shepherd, he saw him that there is a person who is coming in a horse, and he is also a shepherd. On seeing him, what happened, the shepherd came out and he welcomes him. Okay, he says to him that you can come and stay, you can stay in my cave. And what else he did, he even offered him water and meal. And we know that the meal that he offered was very little, right? That was his own meal, but it was so little. Even though it was little, it was not, the amount of the meal was not pretty much, but he was so wise and so kind hearted that he offered him his own meal. And the king stays at night with him, and as he stays with him for a night, he saws that why the shepherd is so popular in the region, and why everyone is so impressed and so why the popularity of the shepherd is so much. So the king was also impressed by the kindness that he showed, and also not only the kindness, he was also impressed by the talks, the kind of talking that the shepherd was doing. So the king was really impressed by all this. Okay, the next morning, as the king is about to leave, he thanked the shepherd for his generosity. This thus the shepherd tell him to has recognized the king and was grateful for him to for his visit. So what happened? The king next morning decided that he will leave the place. Okay, and he asked the shepherd to give him permission to leave the cave. But when he was about to leave, the shepherd revealed that he knew that he is the king of the region, and he appreciated that he appreciated his generosity. He appreciated that the king was interested in him, and he pays a visit to him. So the shepherd knew that the king was the person who has come and disguised himself as a. This impressed the king, and he appoints him as the governor of a small district. Soon the people also started loving the shepherd because of his humanity, wisdom, and kindness. However, this does not go down well with the other governors. So, what happened, as the king saw that how generous, how kind hearted, and how intelligent the shepherd was, he decided that he wants someone like him to work for him. So, he asked the shepherd to be the governor of a town. Okay, and soon he pointed the shepherd as the governor of a small district. And soon what happened, with the time, all the people of that district, they started loving the shepherd for his kindness, for his intelligence, for his humanical nature, okay, and for his wisdom. So soon this happened that he became popular in that district also. But all the other governors, they were jealous of him, and they were not happy that a normal shepherd could be, on the same level with the other governors. They were basically jealous of his popularity. They plot against him and feeds the king lie about the shepherd's dishonesty. In order to make their lies concerned, they implies that the shepherd hides the treasure in his trunk, which he always carries with him. So what happened, due to all the governor's jealousy, they started, spreading the rumors about the shepherd. They started to fill the ears of the king with the lies that the shepherd is a dishonest man. He tries to steal the money of other people, he tries to steal the taxes of other people, and he, always carries a trunk with him. He always carries a trunk, and in that trunk, what he used to do, he used to fill the money that he carries or takes from the people as a tax. And he is a very dishonest man. So all these things, the other governors were telling all these things to the king, and they were basically spreading the rumors. They were just basically wanted that the king, start hating him, or starts to be suspicious about the shepherd. When the king heard about all this, he decided to make the shepherd open the iron chest. When, when he opens it, he finds only one blanket in it. This shocks everyone, and the shepherd explained that the blanket is his only treasure. So, what happened? Soon the king also realizes that although he was not affected by the rumors so much, but he also wanted to know that what is inside the iron chest, or you can say the trunk that the shepherd used to carry all the time. So what happened, he summoned the shepherd, and when the shepherd came to the palace, all the other governors, they were pointing out, and they were, all the members were very happy, they were very joyful that yes, he is still carrying the iron trunk, and we want to see that what is inside the iron trunk. So the kings ordered the shepherd to open the iron trunk, and when the shepherd opened it, it was to everyone's surprise that the thing that was inside the trunk was a simple normal blanket. And when everybody sees that the shepherd is only carrying a blanket, they were shocked. They were, they were thinking that he just carries a blanket all the time. And to this, the shepherd explained that the only treasure that he has is the simple blanket that he is holding right now. Okay. Moreover, the shepherd's value is in the blanket provide him protection, and will continue to do so even if he loses all his possession and position. Now the king feels embarrassed but also impressed by his wisdom. Thus, he appoints him the governor of an even bigger district. So, what happened? The shepherd, when explained that why he carries the blanket, he explained that the only treasure that he have is the blanket. And even though with time he may lose his position, he may lose his, the new clothes that he is wearing, but the possession that he hold, the valuable thing, that blanket that he hold, it will never, ditch him. It will never leave him. It will always protect him as he used to protect him earlier. Okay. And when the this whole plot got revealed, the king was really impressed also, and he was embarrassed also. Embarrassed that he, kind of made him do all this thing, but he was impressed by the fact that he is such a wise and such a gentleman. And all the governor that were present in the palace, they were also, ashamed of themselves that they had done something very bad, right? So what happened, due to because of all this, the king realizes that he is the person who should be given more power, and he appointed him as the new governor of a even a bigger district. Okay. So student, this was the story, The Shepherd's Treasure, and I hope that you enjoyed the story, the summary of the story. But if you really want to know the story in much more detail, you can go through the video number 1. Okay, now let's discuss the moral of the story. So what is the moral of the story? I've already many times explained to you that moral of the story means the learning that we get or the message that we get from the story. So in short, the message or the lesson that we get from the story, first of all, let's read it and then we will discuss it. The message is in the story is that wisdom, humanity, and honesty are attributes to great ethical behavior, and a person who possesses them is bound to be recognized for them in life sooner or later. So the message is that people should hold honesty, modesty, humanity, wisdom, these kind of values in them, even though it can take time to be recognized for these values, but these ethical values, sooner or later you will be recognized for all these ethical values. As you have seen in the story that people used to realize that the shepherd is a very kind and very generous person with time. Okay, they didn't you may think that the shepherd was not educated, so he might be is someone who doesn't have any values, who doesn't have any ethic, mind, or who doesn't have any intelligence. But even though he has not received any education, he was kind enough, he was generous enough to everyone, and he used to help everybody. So this was something that every people realized with time. So the story gives you message that if you hold these kind of possession, the possession of values, so the values can take you way further. So you see that in this story the value of the shepherd takes him from a normal person to the governor of the city. And then at the end you saw that, we all saw that what happened, he was appointed the governor of the even bigger district. So he was that much, the values he holded was that much valuable. Okay, so the story gives us message that we should hold the values, the possession that we should hold is of the possession of values. Okay, so this was the moral of the story, students. Now let's discuss the textual question answers. Okay, students, so let us discuss these questions. So the first question is, the shepherd had been to school because, so what is the reason that the shepherd didn't go to school? So the first point is, he was very poor, there were very few school in those days. Or the third option, he wasn't interested in studies. So the correct answer to the first question is this point number second, which is that there was very less school and in those days. Okay, next question is question number second, who visited the shepherd one day and why? So who was the one who visited the shepherd? The king visited the shepherd. And what was the reason that he visited the shepherd? He visited the shepherd because he has heard about the popularity of the shepherd, that how wise and how kind he is. So he himself wanted to see that the actual reality of shepherd's popularity. Okay, third question is, why did the other governors grow jealous of the shepherd? So why they got jealous, or why they were not even supporting the shepherd? This was because they saw that how fast the shepherd has grown to the popularity of being a kind and nice governor, right? They were not even able to recognize it because they thought that someone who is uneducated and who has not received the education, how he can got so much popularity. And then there are we as a governor who are just doing our job, being and we are not even popular like him. So they were basically jealous of the governor because they didn't like that everyone was liking the new governor and everyone was respecting him. Okay, why was the new governor called to the palace? So what was the reason? It is because all the other governors, they filled the ears of the king by saying and repeating it continuously, that the chest that the king that the shepherd was carrying has has a valuable possessions in them, and he has put all the taxes that the people are giving to him, all the money that the people are giving to him as taxes in those boxes, okay, in that iron chest. Next, fifth question is, why was everyone delighted to see the iron chest on the camel's back? They were delighted because they wanted to know the reason that what is inside the chest, and they knew that the reason for the summon of the shepherd was to know the reality of his chest.